During the Auschwitz commemoration, European leaders called attention to the dangers of xenophobia. Thousands of immigrants cross into Germany every year to flee violence and turbulence back home. But as CCTV's Guy Henderson reports from Berlin, instead of a welcome, they sometimes face a backlash.
New arrivals at Berlin's asylum seeker overflow. This family crossed the border just a few days ago, the end of a journey that began in Afghanistan. They left almost everything they owned behind in hope of a new life here. In 2014, roughly 200,000 others made the same choice. The charity that runs this temporary structure says the system is bursting at the seams.
Because Berlin was very overwhelmed with refugees, so that's why this is an emergency shelter, as we have others in Berlin, but it's a pilot project because it has never done in a facility like this, because this is an air-supported structure. So, and it is, on the other hand, also an emergency shelter, just so that the refugees who wouldn't have a shelter otherwise are not on the street.
Many come from Syria, though the families here now are mostly from Chechnya, as well as countries on Europe's eastern periphery. None will speak on camera, but their stories share a common theme.
People we've spoken to say that they come here to avoid the kinds of discrimination that they might face back home, and German immigration policy does remain fairly open to those kinds of new arrivals. But it's an increasingly hot political issue here in Germany, because by letting people in, you potentially lose some valuable votes.
Anti-immigration sentiment is on the rise here and across much of northern Europe. In the city of Dresden to the south, thousands rally every week. Stop multiculturalism, this banner reads. The homeland must remain German. Since the terrorist attacks in Paris earlier this month, Muslims like Anas Hajjaj are particularly concerned. A German citizen now, he's been to such gatherings to try and build bridges, but with limited success.
And it's known that in the east of Germany there's some economics problem, and also what the people see on the TVs from the IS and from the extremists, then they cannot really compare between the normal Muslims and the normal refugees and these extremists.
That's not a distinction Germany's Chancellor struggles with. Commemorating 70 years since the liberation of Auschwitz concentration camp, Angela Merkel said lessons could still be drawn.
Dort zeigten sich zwei der großen Übel unserer Zeit.
Islamic terrorism and anti-Semitism are two of the great evils of our time. A few days after the attacks, millions of people came together in Paris to send a decisive message. We want to live together freely and peacefully. Together we act against barbarism inspired by hatred of people. Whether Muslim, Jewish, Christian, with or without religion, we belong together.
Muslimisch, jüdisch, christlich.
The majority agree, and so those desperate enough to make the journey continue to come. But Europe's politicians are under pressure from an increasing minority that's less sympathetic. Guy Henderson, CCTV, Berlin, Germany.